YouTube, what's going on? Thank you for clicking on the video. Today I'm going to show you how to fix or at least reduce packet burst and packet loss on the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta, something that's been affecting the whole player base during this early access weekend. So if you're struggling with hitching or micro stutters that are costing you gunfights, then try some of the fixes that I'm going to list out here that I've used to drastically improve my gameplay experience. Now, while packet loss has been a staple of COD connectivity issues since before time began, it seems to be impacting more and more players since the Season 5 Reloaded update, which actually made on-demand texture streaming mandatory in the settings. This is causing a bigger load on connectivity and it's impacting performance across the whole Call of Duty app, be it the Black Ops 6 beta or the Modern Warfare 3 tile. Now, while this is a setting that I think Treyarch or Sledgehammer, whoever's rolled this out, should look into and potentially even revert to allow us to turn off on-demand texture streaming, at the moment we've just got to play the cards that we're dealt, so our goal is to make sure that our connection is as smooth as it possibly can be. Because of that, the first recommendation that I have to make, no matter how short and simple it is to play on a wired connection. No matter what platform you're playing on, using Wi-Fi over Ethernet means it can take 10 to 20 times as long to transmit data from point A to point B. So as much as I appreciate not everyone's going to have that option depending on your living situation or your setup, if you do have that option, then you should absolutely be connecting via an Ethernet cable. The next couple of suggestions are for PC players specifically, but there are more tips that may help console players shortly, so stay tuned. But just before we get into things, I'm coming up onto 800 subscribers and gunning for 1K shortly after, so if any of the tips in this video do help you improve the issues, then I massively appreciate it if you could drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more Black Ops 6 content coming as we move into the full open beta this weekend. Now, in order to aid performance and limit background activity that could have a knock-on effect in how your game's playing, I'm going to run through a couple of quick settings that you should make sure are optimized correctly. First of all, if you head to your Windows settings, go to Gaming, Game Bar, and make sure this is turned off. Then if you head back, go into Game Mode, make sure this is turned on, and then in the related settings, hit Graphics, change default graphics settings, and make sure that you've got hardware accelerated GPU scheduling turned on too. Next, head out of your settings, right click on your desktop, more options, and open up your NVIDIA control panel, and then head into manage 3D settings. Now, some of these settings will differ slightly depending on your hardware, but these are pretty well optimized, so if you want to go through and copy any of mine, then feel free to. A couple of important things that we want to make sure we do here, with our shader cache size, make sure you stick this onto driver default, then scroll further down, texture filtering quality we want to have on high performance, and finally vertical sync or VSync you want to make sure is off. From here, just hit apply, let the settings save, and now we're going to make sure that you've got the right driver installed for your graphics card so that the Black Ops 6 beta can run smoothly. Now, bear in mind that the latest drivers aren't always the most stable drivers, and Activision have recommended that we use these drivers that we have on screen here that they've actually optimized the Black Ops 6 beta against. So if you want to make sure that things run as smoothly as possible while we're in this kind of testing stage where things are bound to mess up anyway, then make sure that you're on one of these drivers depending on what brand of graphics card you run in your system. In case it sounds a little bit scary or complex or anything, I'm just going to show you how easy it is. I run NVIDIA, so I'm going to copy that driver, paste it into the search bar, search. We've got the GeForce Game Ready driver 560.7T for Windows 11 and Windows 10. If you scroll down, you can see all of the products that are supported just in case you want to make sure it works for your machine. Spoiler alert, it probably does. And finally, you can just hit download, open the file, express installation, and your software's up to date. Once your drivers are updated, you want to load up Call of Duty, head into your settings, and then we're going to go down to graphics and tweak a couple of the in-game settings here. To ensure as little latency as possible, you want to make sure you're on full screen exclusive. Full screen borderless is okay, but there is going to be a very slight difference between the two. Full screen exclusive, typically better. From there, in your display settings, I want you to head down to VSync and just make sure that that is still switched off, particularly for gameplay. That's where it's most important. And then scroll up to NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency and make sure that this is switched on or on plus boost. Now, which one you're going to pick is dependent on your system, and there's a very easy, very quick test that you can do to figure that out. In the settings, head down to Interface, Telemetry, Expand to show more, turn on your graphics card time and your processor time. From there, you're going to head into a match. Now, it doesn't matter what map or game mode that you do this on, but it does matter that you do this in an actual match because your PC's gameplay performance isn't going to be representative while you're in the menus. Once you load into a match, you can see up in the top left, I've got GPU time and CPU time. And all we're trying to establish here is whether you're GPU bound or CPU bound. You don't have to understand what that means. It basically says which one of these numbers is going to run higher. As you can see on mine, my GPU time runs at 4 milliseconds. My CPU time runs at 3 milliseconds. It varies a little bit, but typically the GPU is higher than the CPU, and that would mean that I'm GPU bound. From here, I'm just going to leave the game, go back into my settings, back to NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, and if you're GPU bound, you should set this to on. If you're CPU bound, you should set this to on plus boost. Next, head across to quality and then down all the way to on-demand texture streaming. This is the setting that's causing the issues for a lot of players, whether it's on this game or Modern Warfare 3, so we want to try and reduce the work that our system's doing to download these textures as much as we can. At base, make sure this is set to minimal, not optimized, and then expand from there. Bring your allocated texture cache size all the way down to 16. Set your download limits to on, and then set a download daily limit of 1 GB. That's as low as it can possibly go. Just a quick note here that after doing these fixes, if you still have trouble, consider bringing down your overall quality settings just a notch so that your system's working a little bit less hard to produce the textures, it has to transmit less data, and hopefully performance will increase, but fingers crossed these should help you anyway. Next, head back over to display, make sure you apply your settings. Your screen will probably go black for a moment while it confirms that. And then in your display settings, head down to restart shaders preloading, click this, click restart. This is only going to take effect when you load your game back up. And now we're going to close the application altogether. One last step here for PC users. If you head into your file explorer, go to document, Call of Duty, players, and then into the folder, which is 9 numbers. Yours are going to differ from mine. If you scroll down a bit, you'll find gamerprofile.obase and gamerprofile.obase.cst. Open these 2 files in your notepad. And even though this may look scary to some of you, don't worry, we're just going to change a couple of values here, which is going to try and lock in those changes that we've made to the on-demand text streaming settings. Hit Control F and search bytes, hit enter, and you're going to find stream limit in MB, and you're going to find these 2 rows, stream limit in MB and stream limit enabled. What you want to do here is set this number to 0 and make sure that the limit enabled value is set to true, not false. Hit File, Save on your first document. Search bytes again in the second document. Again, stream limit in MB, stream limit enabled. Set the value to 0 and the second value to true. File, save, and close. Now from here, what I recommend you do is just do a hard power off of your system, whether it's PC or console. Just hold the power button until it turns off. This is just going to end any temporary processes and give your system a fresh start when you reboot. Once you have rebooted, just log back into the Call of Duty app, head over to the Black Ops 6 beta and let that boot up. And then when you're here, you'll see your shaders preloading on the top left-hand side of the screen. It can only take a couple of minutes top. Just make sure that you let these finish installing before you load into a game. Otherwise, it's going to be really buggy while they continue to install as you try to play. And you're going to feel like all your hard work's for nothing. Now, I don't know which one of these settings improved my performance the most, but personally, since I have implemented them, I am seeing far less warnings overall. And when I'm getting pop-up warnings of packet loss, I'm not actually feeling the hitch that I was beforehand. I'm still occasionally getting packet loss on death, but I'm not feeling that while I'm in the gunfights. And I know that even when it is popping up, I'm not having any of the hitching or the micro stutters that I was before. So hopefully these settings help you guys. Let me know in the comments if there's any fixes that I haven't covered or if there's any specific ones from these that worked for you. Share the video with your friends if it helped you. Hopefully it can help plenty more people out there who are facing the same annoying problems while Treyarch or Sledgehammer figure out whether or not they're going to reverse this on-demand texture streaming setting. Subscribe to the channel for more Black Ops 6 content. We're going to have plenty more coming, tips, tricks, guides as we head into the full open beta this weekend. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.